This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. You're tuning into the TCSF podcast with Big Z featuring JC, Dynasty Fantasy Football, and Ivan from the Tape Never Lies Network. And we're coming straight from 606 Media Studios, powered by True Chicago Sports Fans. This is episode 257, a little tight. We're definitely fired up to talk about everything that makes Chicago great, which is our Chicago sports teams. And remember, 606 Media is your ultimate source for all things Chicago. Don't forget to swing by 606media.com for your official TCSF podcast t-shirt, for the love of sports merchandise line, and the No Water No Weekend gear. So definitely go check out our stuff. Once you buy it and you get it, take some pictures, send it over to us. We're trying to make a new commercial for everybody wearing our stuff. So definitely trying to feature all of our fans who are showing us all the love. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or X, smash that subscribe button. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, please leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us, keeps us in front of all the charts. So definitely do that for us. If you want to support us in a different way with money, show the support with a monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. And as little as 99 cents a month, every bit helps the conversation going. Other podcasts on the show, we got a podcast with myself, Big Z, where we dive deep into fascinating stories. New episodes should be dropping in September. We got No Water on the Weekend with Steven and Sean. They've been doing weekend shows all over Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, so definitely do that. Steven is at the Cubs game today, so good luck to the Cubbies. Hopefully get that win, right? All right, let's strap it in and get ready to talk about Chicago sports. And we'll start off with our Chicago Cubs, who came out of the All-Star break against the Boston Red Sox, who had won 10 straight at that point. And the Cubs said, not in my house. Not in my house. Cub fans, tell me what you think.
Ivan, go ahead. I'll let Ivan start off.
Is Ivan there? Is Ivan frozen? Oh, there he goes. And I'm frozen.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're
Yep.
frozen now. We can hear you.
Yeah, we hear.
Okay, awesome. So what were we
talking
talking
about
about
the
before I
Cubs.
froze? I couldn't hear anything.
My bad. We were
Oh,
talking
the
about
Cubs. Yeah.
Yeah, the Cubs. Yeah, how Boston had won 10 straight, and then they come into Wrigley and they said, not in my house.
Yeah, I'm excited about what the second half has in store, especially the way they came out against the Red Sox team on a 10-game winning streak, and then you go ahead and you take 2 out of 3 from them. I was like, man, we were watching that game, Jose,
Yeah.
on Sunday, and you just need somebody to come in there. And I know Presley had a rough outing. He hasn't pitched in a bit. But you just need somebody to be in there that can just shut it down when you need it. You needed a inning where you could call on somebody to come in and just mow people down. And not saying that Presley hasn't been good, but there's this period now where people are starting to believe that the Cubs have a legitimate freaking chance to win this thing. You need to find guys that are going to knock it down late in games, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, whatever the fuck it is. You need to have this trust that you're going to find a guy, you're going to have a guy that's going to come in there and lock it down for you. And right now, it's a very hit or miss. Palencia has been great. Presley has been a lot better since the beginning of the season. But again, who else would you? If Ben Brown is in the bullpen, are you really 100% happy that the Cubs are not happy, but 100% confident that the Cubs are going to lock it down? Is that the additions that we need? Is there anybody else in the minor league system that you think can come up? Maybe what do you think? Kenta Maeda is going to come up and possibly be a bullpen piece late. Like I don't think so. There's nobody that I could see right now on this team other than like a Palencia in the back end, and maybe if you move some guys like thinking playoffs, into the bullpen from the rotation that are, I'm 100% confident in. So there's a lot of work to be done with Jed. And Jed, like for me, don't go ahead and blow picks or a guy like I understand there's a need to move pieces, but don't get hung up on guys like a Owen Casey, or like a Ballesteros that they haven't been in the, like you've seen a Ballesteros, haven't seen Owen Casey yet, but they haven't really done much. If somebody else can go handle them or is interested in them, so be it. You need major league ready pitchers, guys that are fucking pitching at a high level right freaking now, that are able to come help your bullpen, that are able to come help your rotation. You need to maybe you add another bat that you could trust that can perform for you, and maybe hope maybe multiple spots, maybe one spot. Regardless, you need that. There's work to be done with the Cubs.
Go ahead, JC. I'll finish it off.
No, I agree with Ivan. I mean, obviously we've talked about this for a month or so now about, we need a solidified closer and a setup man that, can go from inning 7 to 9 and not give up 2 or 3 runs, that can lock this down and can finish out a game. We have great pitching staff starting, Shota and all these guys that, are taking it 5 innings, 6 innings deep. But then our issues tend to come when, those guys come in innings 7, 8, and 9, and then we end up giving up 2, 3 runs. And that's the difference between, us winning 6 games every year and losing 6 games every year, potentially even more. When we look at like how many games we've lost by, we had the lead and ended up losing by 1 or 3. Last year, I think it was, double digits. And that ended up costing us the playoffs. So that's definitely something I look at. We were continuing to talk about third base, adding a potential bat or, defensive player there. You kind of look at the rest of the positions on the field. Catcher maybe is something I'd be interested in, maybe, but it's one of those, it's all about framing now in the MLB. And it always seems like the Cubs are getting some of the older pitching staff that, don't quite get the calls when they're, trying to frame a pitch. So, it's something potentially that I'd be interested in if we can upgrade the position of catcher. But, obviously we all know third base is really where we're looking, where we really need that upgrade over Shaw, who, is filling in admirably. But, it's one of those, he's still a rookie, still year 1 in the majors, and he's having growing pains. So it's one of those, if you can get someone who is a little more seasoned, has a little more, I don't know, I want to say like a Ben Zobrist type leader where, he can just move people, get RBIs, get people on base. I know, you kind of want some power in the lineup, but, a lot of times with the Cubs, I feel like we do well with the home runs, but it's like they can't always play small ball when they need to, and just move guys on base. So that's something, when we had Zobrist and some of those guys that could play small ball, while you had the Bryants and those guys that could play the long ball, it was kind of a nice camaraderie for the team, where you, like you said, you had your power hitters, you had Rizzo, Bryant, Contreras, and Schwarber before we got rid of him. But those guys could hit the long ball. But then it was like, okay, if the long ball, because, in the playoffs, the long balls kind of tend to get taken away. You're facing the best of the best pitching. So it's one of those where, you got to have guys that can make and hit for contact and hit a single or a double and get on base and move in that type of way. So I think that's something that we need to look at, and the Cubs have been doing good at it. But if we can add one more guy like that at the third base position, that can hit for contact and, move guys along the base, I think that would help.
You're looking at, we've been saying this for about a month now. Eugenio Suarez from the Diamondbacks is obviously the belle of the ball on who will be traded. Will it be the Yankees? Will it be the Cubs? Right? It's going to be who's going to give up the biggest package. The Yankees are trying to get Eugenio Suarez and one of the other pitchers from the Diamondbacks, and they're trying to send 4 to 5 not draft picks. I'm sorry, minor leaguers. Yeah, prospects on the backside. So that's kind of rich. But the Yankees are literally pushing all their chips in, and they will be going after everybody that's possibly on the trade market for to try to separate themselves, because they're in a tight race as well. I know the Cubs and the Brewers are tied right now, with the Brewers winning 10 straight, which is unfathomable. But they're playing really good baseball. And I watched a couple of the Cubs recaps games, just the condensed games, to get a sense of what's going on with the Cubs. And I watched some Brewers recaps, and again, they are playing really good baseball, and they're playing just like small ball, smart baseball. They don't have to do the long ball to get ahead. They're just playing smart. Get them in, get them over. Hey, if they put them in a position for them to make the mistake, and we'll take advantage of it. They're playing great baseball. So you have to get someone that's going to give you a boost. If it's Eugenio Suarez, then it's got to be that guy, right? You also need bullpen help. We talked about that, right? They definitely need another arm that's going to be in the back end of the rotation, because Palencia can't pitch every day. And then the reliever you got from the Astros that you signed or traded or whatever you got him from, he definitely is
Go
not.
ahead and package everything and go get. And I'm gonna say this straight up.
Ooh,
Go to the A's. Go ask
Disagreement.
them for Severino.
Mhm.
Go ask them. What was their closer's name? JC, I know you know it. Was it Miller or?
Yes, it is Miller. It is
Yeah.
Miller.
Go give them that. Luis Severino. You get him the fuck out of Sacramento. Give him a chance to pitch in a pennant race. Fuck. He's already pitching on fire because he's pissed he doesn't want to be there. But I can imagine you can coerce him to, buy into the Cubs in a pennant race, with the ball club that they have, and you're going ahead and bringing this fucking lights out closer that they got. You know what I'm saying? Is he hurt? I hope he's not hurt. Like,
Mason Miller. I got so the word is they're trying to keep Miller unless they get a king's ransom, which
this is
you
what I'm
never
talking about.
you
You're
never
trying to
know.
win the World Series, man. The A's are a little bit out. Like, they have some talent, but they're a little bit out. And you never know what this talent is going to transition into. Brendan Davis. They held on to Brendan Davis for fucking ever. Forever. Brendan Davis could never fucking crack the 25-man roster.
Who was your other one? I think it was a shortstop. Um, God, I can't remember his name. He used to come up all the time. He might be still with the minor leagues. I can't remember.
Either way,
Yeah, they have a lot. And we talked about this last week, where
yeah.
we hold our prospects like they're diamond rings. Like Jerry holds on to nickels. There's no reason for it. Some of these trades are going to pan out, and some of these trades are not going to pan out. Right? The Tatis trade for the White Sox did not pan out. He was a low A ball player. Now he came from pedigree, so you took a risk and you went for James Shields, trying to push through because we needed pitching. It didn't work out. And there's times it does work out, right? You traded Javi Baez, right? And what did you get back? PCA, who's also on a 15-day disabled. Yeah, he's on a 15-day disabled list, I believe, 10 or 15. He has a right knee issue. He wasn't in the lineup. I don't think he's going to be in the. I think they've actually placed him on the IL, but he is definitely taking the day off today. Let's see what the Cubs are doing right now. I had him up here earlier. I had him up here earlier. Cubs, come on, go back. The Cubs are up 4-1 on the Royals, so that's good news because Kansas City is a tough team. They're playing 500 ball. They're 48-52. Definitely a team that is not going to be in a playoff picture. Can be a potential trade ally with the Cubs. They do have a pitcher by the name of, I just had it up here. Jesus Christ, everything's all over the place right now. Um, what is his name? Trade. I just had it up here. Idaho. It's a Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo is the name. He has like a career of like sub, 4 ERA. He's a professional. He's been pitching forever. Definitely somebody that can hold down the back end of the rotation for the Cubs. Again, they're going to have to make multiple moves. It's really what is it going to cost the Cubs to do these multiple moves? That's going to put you in the position to take over the division. I know they're favored to win the division by a bunch of analytics websites and all that, and experts, you want to say. But the fact of the matter is the Brewers are hot. They won 10 straight, and they've kept up with the Cubs. So it's hard to say, hey, you don't need much. You're playing very well. When the actuality is, if a team just wins 10 straight right now, and they're going to play the Mariners next, another tough team, the Brewers are, it's going to make it needs to make an impact in the next 2 weeks. Is it going to be sooner than later? Who knows? But in my opinion, I would say you might have to go a little sooner with teams like the Yankees, trying to get in there into what's my standings. In there, you got the Phillies, who are only a half game on the Mets. So you're going to see the Phillies, the Mets, the Cubs, the Brewers. You're going to see the Dodgers and the Padres and the Giants making moves. I know the Giants are only 6 games out, but it's definitely something that they might be doing. All right. Okay. I don't know what happened to Ivan. Looks like Ivan dropped off. No problem there.
Yeah, he looked like he dropped off.
It's
But
all
I
good.
mean, going and looking at the specs, right? We're sitting here talking about like Owen Casey. He's an outfielder. All right, where
No
does he
place for
fit
him.
in? Right, where does he fit in? Right, because if we pay PCA and we pay Tucker, Saya's still there, which Saya's been DHing, but it's like, okay, where does he fit in? Right, if we call him up, where does he fit in? Really nowhere. So it's one of those like, is he a trade prospect? Yes. All right. Then we look at Ballesteros. He's catcher first base, right? Bush is playing pretty well. So it's like, are we going to call him up to replace Bush, at first base? I don't think so. So
No.
is he a trade possibility? Yes. All right. Then you look at Kevin Alcantara, outfielder, right? He's been called up, at the end of the seasons when the rosters expand. He's played okay for us at times, but it's one of those outfield is still packed. So can he go? Yes. All right. Jackson Wiggins, you hear good things coming out of the lower leagues on Wiggins. I don't know. I don't think I would want to move him per se. Then you have James Triantos, second base and outfield, right? We're good at second base right now. Outfield is stacked. Trade bait right there. All right. Birdsell, right-handed pitcher. I don't think you're moving him. Fernando Cruz, shortstop. Right now we're good at shortstop. So that's a potential, granted he's 2029. He is a long way out. Then you got a bunch of other guys, Jonathan Long, Christian Hernandez, Juan Thomas. So there's plenty of guys in our prospects here, especially outfielders, where it's like we have such a log jam of outfielders that it's one of those, if the end all goal is to re-sign Tucker and to sign PCA long term, then these outfielders that we have that are supposed to be called up this year or next year are now trade bait. All right. Because
You also drafted a bunch of outfielders. So
right. And I think we drafted a bunch of outfielders knowing that, Casey and some of these guys, Alcantara, and they're gone. Like, they are going to be traded for what we need in the way of pitching and third base. Because that's the only I mean, why would you go draft 3 outfielders in the first couple rounds when you sit there and go, when you have a logjam? Unless you're admitting that, like, most likely we are not going to be able to pay Tucker and PCA at the same time.
Why not? They have money. They have money. I don't want to hear that they're broken.
Oh, they're definitely going to have money next year, and you know what I mean. It's just a whole. You know how the Cubs are.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
Cubs spend, but they won't spend like the Dodgers. They won't spend like the Yankees. They won't spend like those, the Red Sox. They spend, but it's one of those, like, they're the top of tier 2 in the way of spending.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
like you have the top 3 teams or 4 teams, and then you have the Cubs right there, right behind them, where it's like, ugh.
And you just mentioned the other teams who have had sustainable playoff runs year after year after year in the World Series. It's hard to get into the World Series year after year, but still, you're looking at, like you said, the Dodgers are in the playoffs every year. Yep. Have they made the World Series? Yep. Last year they won it, and the year before, 2020, they won the baby marathon. They won that one. Okay. The Yankees, yeah. Just the word Yankees means championship. 27 so far. Yeah. So Boston.
Yeah, but they're also willing to pay their players, $500 million over 10 years,
No.
and the
Oh, you're
Cubs
talking
are
about
not willing to do that.
you're talking about Otani, and that's Tucker's looking for that kind of money. Let's be honest. Tucker's looking for the big bag because after next year, baseball will go on strike, and it's going to kill the sport at a time that it's starting to grow again. And this is exactly like it was in 94, 25, 30 years later. It's going to do the exact same thing. As soon as the sport starts growing with popularity, let's kill it with a strike over just dumb stuff. All right. Yes. Do I agree that these contracts are out of control? Oh, yeah, definitely. 500, 600 million. There's no reason a guy playing a kid's game should be making that much money. Right. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. But also, you
I mean,
have a lot
you
of
you
owners
can
making
say
a
it's
lot of
stupid,
money.
but you can say it's stupid, but I mean, they do play a lot of games, and, a season of baseball is, you know, I don't necessarily want to say the wear and tear is more than a season of football, because football is so physical, where football is 16 weeks, 1 game each week. Baseball, it's a grind. So it's one of those, like, do they deserve the money? Where the NFL makes all their money in 16 weeks, baseball is, what, 6 months
6 months
of, 100 and however many games,
and
and
62.
it's a lot of revenue that they make. So it's like, I get the contract sort of, but what, to me, the issue is this deferred money. Like, I have an issue with that. We've talked about this with.
We've already done that. But here's the thing: is I understand your point. Is it? Do they deserve a good paying job? Yes. Do they deserve like 4 generations worth of money? No. All right, as simple as that. Now, if you make contracts to be no more than 3 years, so then you have a lot more player movement, right? Also, make contracts incentive based. So if you hit 30 home runs and 30 steals, you get an extra 10 million. Cool. I'm cool with that. Give great bonuses for production because I'm sick of seeing players half-ass it. After they get their big contract, Anthony Rodon, he's played 63 games with the Angels, getting paid 380 million. That's not fair. That's not fair to the fan. That is not fair to the organization. That is not fair to his teammates. For him, I'm not saying he's not legitimately hurt, but come on,
Yeah, but I
63
mean, that
games.
that happens in every sport. It happens in the NBA. It happens in
I know we
football.
had Lonzo Ball. I know we had Lonzo Ball. I get that. Yeah, I get it.
Who is the defensive tackle for Washington uh, that got paid like $80 million and then, like, got kicked off the team 2 years later? I can't even think of his name, but it's like one of the worst NFL contracts ever signed.
Mhm.
You know, it happens in sports, you know, and that's where like you have to do your due diligence. You have to know like these players' personalities and attitudes. You know, do they love the game? You know, or are they in it for the money? And then
Yep.
when they get the money, they don't care about, you know, being the best in the world anymore. You know, I'll take a Kobe every day over, you know, the Lonzo balls. And not to say that Lonzo didn't try to come back from his knee injuries. You know, we never know. I'm not there. I'm not their physical therapist. I
Right.
couldn't tell you the work that they're putting in trying to get back. But, you know, I want to say it's Whitworth or something like that, who's the Washington defensive tackle. But like I said, there are guys that once they get the money, it's like they put in half the effort and they don't care.
Yeah.
So, you know, and like I said, I don't see that happening with the Cubs right now. I think everybody that's on that team is trying for the guy next to them. They are playing like a team. They are trying extremely hard, but there are gaps in the talent on that roster. You know, we've stated, especially the pitching,
Mhm.
you know, losing was it Justin Steele very early in the season?
Yep.
You know, that hurt us a little bit. Um, you know, we've talked about, you know, Trevor Bauer being an option.
Not anymore.
Nobody, nobody
That boy's getting rocked over there in Japan or wherever he's pitching. He's been getting rocked.
is he?
I've been keeping up for the last 2 months. He went on IL, and then he gave up like I don't know, like 8 runs or something. He's been getting rocked out there. So he
Well,
might be done. He might be done. We had a little small window for Trevor Bauer and a bunch of support for him, but I think the boy's cooked already. He's done.
yeah, can he still be a closer? Maybe.
Maybe
He might have enough to be, you know, moved to the bullpen and be a closer. You know, we always like to throw it out there as, you know,
satire.
yes, as some sort of bait, you know, to, you know, because I mean, you could sign him to a small contract and, you know, see what he's got. That said, you know, we got to do something, you know, and we'll see what the Cubs are going to do. You know, trade deadline is coming up soon, I believe, because my phone
Another
keeps
month.
blowing up with what should the teams do? Where are they going? You know, trade deadline looms. And, you know, as we state, you know, the GM is not on a long-term contract. Better make something happen.
He's definitely on the hot seat. Definitely trying to get this team to a championship. You know, we been saying for months like this team missed the playoffs because of dumb moves last year and dumb decisions. This year, you can't afford to have those kind of decisions and dumb moves, or not make any moves. To sit on your hands, it's irresponsible. You know, especially when the team cries that they don't have any money. That stadium is jam packed. That stadium was probably one of the loudest this weekend on Friday and Saturday that I've heard in a very long time. Um, it's deafening, and the
But
Chicago's very much
it's not
supportive
even
of the
just
team,
that.
and I
I
love it.
mean,
What's up?
it's the whole Wrigleyville area. I mean, they own everything. They own the rooftops. They own all the shops, the parking,
The
like
hotel.
all the buildings around Wrigley. They own it now.
Yeah.
So it's like don't
Don't cry poor.
yeah. I you know when they came and said, you know, well, we're still recovering. It's like stop it.
And you got people here that work 2 jobs that use that money to go pay to see one of your games. I don't wanna
Yeah.
hear
And
that
they
you're
haven't been cheap. The
No, they're
tickets are
not
not
cheap.
cheap this year, you know.
No,
It's
no, they're not. All right, let's transition to the other. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll transition to the White Sox. I know we've been talking for about 30 minutes on the Cubs. I know Ivan dropped out. Looks like he had something to do with his business or his family, either one. But definitely, let's take a quick break. And on the flip side, we're going to talk White Sox baseball, one of the most high scoring teams in the MLB. So we'll be back on the flip side. We're back in 69 seconds.
Hey there, Chicago enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your fandom to the next level? The True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast has got you covered with some serious cool merch that screams Chicago pride. From cozy sweaters to trendy tank tops, we got it all. Show off your love for the city with our iconic red, white, and blue logo, or stand out with our exclusive collection for the love of sports. Whether you're lounging at home, breaking a sweat at the gym, or cheering on your team at a game, our gear is a must-have for all you diehard Chicago sports fans out there. Don't hesitate. Visit bonfire.com/store/606-media-store/ or simply just click the link in the description and snag your gear ASAP. Get ready to make some noise, show your pride, and embrace the Chicago spirit with True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast merch. Designed for you, the ultimate fan, for the love of sports.
Hey guys, it's Steven.
And this is Sean, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans.
Don't forget to listen to No War on the Weekend. New episodes on Monday. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so we're going to go do a couple of shots. So let's kick it back over to Big Z.
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with Big Z. In the house, we got JC, Dynasty Fantasy Football. And we're going to talk about our White Sox. And lots to talk about with the WhiteSox. They came back out of the All-Star break with their bats on fire. They before the All-Star break, they lost to the Guardians 4-5. I'm sorry, they won that game 5-4, lost 6-2, and then lost 6-5. Very close games with the Guardians. It's always been a thing with the White Sox and the Guardians. But after the All-Star break, they came out with their bats on fire. 10-1 against the Pirates, 10-4 against the Pirates, and then 7-2. And right now they are up 6-2 on the Rays down in St. Pete. So I don't know what was said. I don't know what they did, but they definitely came out and said, we're trying to win. We're going to try to win. And me and JC talked a little bit off air and saying maybe it's the kids. Maybe it's the kids that are putting more effort and, the veterans are kind of taking a step back. Mike Tachman hit a ball into the river, and the last time a White Sox did that, it was Jim Thome. You had Robert hitting home runs. Robert's been, with a hot bat right now. Vargas, Sosa, Kyle Teal, everybody is doing their job, and this is great to see this young and upcoming team because that's what they are. It's going to be a while before we're contenders, but they're scoring 10 runs, 7 runs. This is encouraging to see from the White Sox because it's been such a losing track record for such a long time and such a bad taste in Chicago's mouth, not only the White Sox, but in Chicago's mouth. Like, they're the black sheep of the city. Like, oh my God, you're a White Sox fan? I'm so sorry. Let me buy you a beer and a shot. I'm so sorry about that. That's the type of treatment I get, if I'm out. It's good and bad, right? It's good to see that because we have pretty good pitching. We got some pitching from Hauser, and it looks like who else is the other one? My mouse is all over the place. You got Shane Smith, who pitched in the All-Star game, and Eugenio. He's been placed on a 15-day injury list with ankle sprain. You got Martin Perez that should be coming back soon. Noah Syndergaard, who they signed. He's in AAA. They'll bring him up as soon as they make the trades. But it looks like, they're going to be trading probably Mike Tachman. And to be honest with you, if they trade him to the Cubs, you can use him. Another big bat that can play all over. He can play any part of the field. He can play first base, and he can DH. There's a big bat for you right there. And it'll be pretty cheap. But again, I think the White Sox should be trading some players pretty soon. And it's going to be, where's my stuff? Why is my stuff all over the place today? White Sox. There we go. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So you got Luis Robert that should be traded. Probably put in a package deal. He's been hitting pretty good as of late in the last 7 games. He's got a game in each game. The power's back. Let's see. He's at 9 for 24 since July 11th. That's a 375 batting average. He went 5 for 10 in the Pittsburgh series. So he's getting on base. He's stealing bases. He made 2 web gems that were just unbelievable in the outfield. So you're looking at, he does need a fresh coat of paint. He needs a new place to be. Put him with a contender. Put him, in the 6th or 7th hole where he can be, on the outside of a middle of the lineup where he can still have that power effect, but doesn't need to be the main guy. And we've been talking about this for forever now. If you get whatever you can get, I get it. And if the White Sox don't get their price met, they're probably gonna, I think his options are 20 million for next year. They'll probably do that and take another run at seeing what he can do on a full season. Maybe he's focused. Maybe they turn it around with this coaching staff and these players. Who knows? But it's trading season, and you're going to be trading a bunch of these White Sox away. JC, anything on the White Sox while I pull something up?
I mean, I'm not a White Sox fan, so couldn't care less. I hope they lose. I hope I hope Steven,
he is
wins.
taking the role of Steven today.
I hope that they don't win. What is it, 60 games?
Wow,
so that you owe Steven a hat.
Wow, the hate is real.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the White Sox. We were talking off air that the more they let these young kids play, the better it's going to be for them because I think it's just the veterans don't want to be losing and having to go through a season of just trudging along. Most of them are like, get me out of here, get me on a competing team rather than with the White Sox. And I feel like that's how it is. It's going to take an infusion of youth for the White Sox to play better ball. It's going to come from these younger guys that maybe they're not as talented. I mean, maybe they're not as, all-star players, but they care. They want to play. They want to not suck. And that's the thing is, it came out a couple weeks ago where, there was a former player talking about he got traded to the White Sox. And when he got there, it was basically like people were faking injuries and they didn't want to play because they knew the team sucked and they were just doing everything they could to avoid playing.
I don't think it was the team sucked. It was there was no direction from the top down. There was no rules. Guys did whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, it was management. It was a lot of things.
It was all of that. The talent was there. It's just if he's not trying and he's not trying and he's faking an injury, why am I busting my butt for a guy that doesn't have my back? That's what ended up happening. You literally saw like your water supply being poisoned with oil by 2 or 3 people, and it made it undrinkable for everybody. So they're like, "Yeah, I'm not going to try either. I'm gonna be injured too." That's what happened with that. You're talking about Clint Frazier. That's fine.
Yeah,
but you're looking at a new team with a new organization from top to bottom. Yes, the owner's still the same, but it looks like they turned the page by hiring Brian Bannister and hiring this person and that person from outside the organization to run the pitching and the hitting and the scouting and be able to have a different outlook of what they want in the next 4 to 5 years. You signed some better veterans to get you through it right now with Dan Altavita. You got who else is one of the veterans?
And in the long haul, as you're clearing out these veteran contracts, guess what? That gives you a lot of room to go sign guys in free agency and everything else when the time comes.
I'm going to tell you right now, that outfield next year should probably be all gone. You're going to have Benintendi at 31. I know he's got more years on his contract, but I would literally trade him to any of the teams that would want him. He's a left fielder with a left-handed bat. I think he's a good veteran to have to come off the bench in a playoff run. Solid outfielder. Definitely has some value. Trade him. Luis Robert, like we just talked about his numbers in the last couple of games. Great goal. He's a Gold Glove center fielder. If you can just keep him focused or put him on a great winning team. I know the Padres have interest in him. The Giants have interest. The whole West has interest in him. Pages from the Dodgers made 2 bonehead plays this weekend against the Brewers and just completely missed the ball in the outfield. Hey, that would not have been. I can guarantee that would not be Robert. Mike Tauchman, again, he's got a big bat. He would be a great addition to any team. Right fielder, bats and throws left. He's 34. Again, you're looking at 31, 27, 32, 34, and Michael Taylor, which is another veteran who's been starting to hit very well as well. And he can steal bases too. He's 34. You got to get rid of the whole outfield. You've got to get younger. Everyone else, like you're looking at maybe Josh Rojas, who's 31 in the infield, is probably the other oldest player there. Everyone else is under 25.
Well, as you said, I mean, Talkman might be interesting. You know, Cubs have some outfielders that, you know.
You got some outfielders blocked. Hey, we'll take a young kid. You get a big bopper that can hit.
Yep. Definitely. So there you go. That might be interesting, but you know, we'll see what the Cubs do. You know, I don't know that they're looking at players from the White Sox. I think they're looking at players.
Why? But that's the other thing. And I know Cubs fans and White Sox fans are just like, you know, they want to just stay in their lane. It's like, wait a second. If my team is barely rebuilding and your team is, you know, a couple of steps away from winning a championship, hey, send me a couple good prospects. We'll send you this player that we don't need. It helps you. It helps us in the long run. What's wrong with that?
I'm just saying, like Talkman versus Suarez. You know, like we were talking about earlier.
Oh no! I mean, definitely Suarez should be your number one, but you need a plan B, C, D, and E.
Right, absolutely. But you know, it's one of those. Like I said, I think it's, you know, not going to move the meter, if you will, if we go for a Talkman and that kind of thing. So, you know, it's. I think we need to make a bigger splash, if you will, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get that. And again, Suarez is that guy to do it with. So we'll see what the Cubs do in the next couple of days, see what the White Sox trade away. Because they're getting some young prospects. So, you know, there's going to be guys that are going to be 4 or 5 years away. Because I don't think there's anybody that's super talented that's going to give us back a big return. Everybody that they trade away will begin as prospects. A, double A, triple A. Maybe, you know, some contract money to eat up and whatever, but definitely the White Sox need to be moving that stuff. But in the meantime, I am enjoying this surge of winning baseball done by the White Sox. Unfortunately, I have Hulu and I cannot watch because it's not a channel on there. So I can't watch the Cubs or watch the White Sox while I'm at home. Me and JC will talk about how to do that afterwards. But they are winning 8-2. I tried to do that. It didn't work. It's still 8-2 now with the White Sox above the Tampa Bay Rays. I think the Cubs were up 4-3, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, Steven's at the game, so we'll see how that might lay.
It's 4-4. What a mush.
Steven is a mush. All right. We have said this many of times. If Steven is at a game, it's pretty much guaranteed that he is going to mush it up. and the fact that he texted, like, what was it, 2 a.m, talking about how he's going to the game and calling me out, not telling not to call him a mush. It's like, bro, you're a mush. Like,
you're such a mush.
Even at 3 a.m, you're a mush.
Doesn't matter what time.
It's top of the 5th, so there's still some more game left. But
there is some more game, but the Cubs haven't scored since the second inning, and you see Kansas City putting up a rally right now, scoring 1 in the second, 2 in the fourth, and 1 in the fifth.
Guys on 3rd and 2nd, it looks like.
Yeah, like I said, I told you, Kansas City's a tough team.
Kansas City's up. They just scored.
You definitely got to give him you got to make a meme, Steven the Mush.
Yeah, I'm texting right now in the group chat.
Yeah, it is 6-4 Kansas City, and then for the White Sox, it's 8-2. All right, so we're good. We're good. Again, enjoy this, White Sox fans.
I just sent them a you freaking mush.
Yeah, and also we got the Crosstown this weekend. It's at the South Side. I think it's just 2 games, if I remember correctly. I am still it's 3 games. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I am still unsure if I'm going, just because tickets are just crazy. The amount of the pricing for the tickets is just crazy, and some people are doing packages. Yeah,
I want to call it Comiskey, but it's guarantee rate or rate field, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. All right, what do we got here? Israel's chiming in 6-2. Now the Cubs are playing Little League Baseball. Yeah, well, again, I want both teams to be great. That's what I want. I want both teams to be great because I would love to see them both in the World Series. Meantime, the Brewers will win 20 straight games. I don't think so. I don't think that pitching staff can do that yet. So you got the White Sox and the Cubs this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday is 6:40 game, Saturday 6:10, and Sunday's a 1:10 game. It's supposed to be hot in Chicago, and it's going to be hot on the South Side with the Cubs and the White Sox because this is literally our World Series right now.
Well, I mean, I know I'm off Saturday, but as you know, family issues and things of that nature. So all my plans are, up in the air. We have no idea what's happening. So, I hope to make it to a game this year. I I haven't done much of anything this summer, with medical complications for family members.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where it's like, I would love to get to a game, but it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. So
Yeah, Israel's a diehard fan. Looks like he might be flying in. Let us know if you fly in. Yeah. So, Cubs are struggling right now. White Sox are still surging. Great. Excited. Do you have any football news? I know Bears. Bears.
yeah, just everybody's reporting to camp. Looking forward to that. I know I've got multiple days of training camp tickets. Have 8
me, Ivy, and Steven will be Friday.
I know I have tickets for 8-2. And then I also have tickets for the Bills versus Bears practice, which is 8:15. That's a Friday. I have 4 tickets for that and 4 tickets for the 8-2. So I'll be attending 2 different training camps with that. I know 8-2 is going to be like a guys weekend. All the guys in my other group chat, we're going to pack up and head out there. We have 8 tickets for 8-2. So there'll be 8 of us goofballs out there, hanging out and having fun. And then the 8:15, I don't know who's going or, haven't really decided on that yet. It's up in the air, like I said, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens there.
Israel says, can he go?
Well, Israel, we'll see what we can do. I might end up selling the 8:15 and make a pretty penny. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't even know what the camp tickets are going for, but for the Bills versus Bears, I assume I could probably get a few bucks out of it.
There you go. So beer bucks.
Even if it's $50 a ticket, that's $200 in my pocket.
Okay. That's some good beer money. Let's see if we got any other notes on the other teams. Doesn't feel like it.
No, I mean other than the Bull signed a 5'8", point guard.
He's been throwing dimes.
Yeah, he's kind of who is the guy for the Charlotte Hornets way back in the day?
Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, like it kind of reminds you of that. A much smaller Jeremy Lin, if you will. Kind of little phenom going on for the team.
Whatever spark we can have at the Madhouse, I'll take. What that means for Kobe or Io, I have no idea. Spudweb, yeah, Spudweb was 5'8", yep. He also had Nate Robinson, was short. Definitely, I don't know. We'll see what he does. But I like the way he plays.
The thing that interests me is that, yeah, exactly. It's one of those he plays an interesting. He's an assist guy. He can shoot from everything I've seen, but at the same time, like he is very much like finding the open guy and getting the ball to the guys in motion, in movement,
Very
and
Jason
pushing the
Kidd,
pace.
Steve Nash. Yeah. His job is his court vision is pass first and then worry about the rest later. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I like it. It's a two-way contract, and which means he can go to the Windy City Bulls and the main roster back and forth. So we'll see what happens because the Bulls might be making some trades too to go younger and get more assets, and they'll be stuck in the middle as you can. So yeah, we got Bears reporting, we got Bulls. I mean, I don't want to get into he moves faster than a cockroach. That's a good one. I don't want to get into the whole. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to get to that, but I do want to talk about.
You mean you don't want to talk about the WNBA?
Not today. I am not in the mood for that WNBA.
Oh, I'll make some
it,
sound bites real quick.
because it's just gonna sound like we're hating or we're trying to mansplain when you want to talk stats, and I don't want to get into a dumb conversation when people just want to talk about it emotionally and not know the figures. So it's like, I've always been taught, don't argue with an idiot because they're going to beat you with experience. So I'm not going to argue about that. It's very simple. They've been subsidized since the beginning. They don't turn a profit, and you're asking for more money. No.
Listen, this is what I'll say. Do the players deserve a little more money?
Yes.
Yes. All right. We're not disagreeing that,
that 75,000 is a livable wage. No, it is not.
Right. All right, but at the same time, is 75,000 an acceptable wage for a teacher? Is it an acceptable wage
No, it is
for? So it's one of those where it's like, listen, if the average American can live off $50,000 and make it work, and then their spouse has to work as well for a 2-income home, you know what? Maybe instead of renting a $5,000 apartment, live within your means. All right. Sorry that, and don't get me wrong. I understand you got to have the fit walking into the stadium and all that stuff, but that's mostly sponsored. Not every player is going to be sponsored.
But I'm not worried about the Angelreeses and the Caitlin Clarks and I'm not worried about those players. The top echelon that have sponsorships and podcasts and they're doing all this other stuff, endorsements. They're making their money on that, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to talk about it because this is just going to be like, oh, you're mansplaining. No, it's not. We're talking about the lower level player, the 12th woman on the bench who's making 50,000, 60,000, maybe 70,000. I have no idea, right? But she's not making what she should be making if you're getting paid to play a professional game. No, she's not getting paid what she deserves. Do I just?
But here's what I will say, because I am a business owner. I own my own business, and for the first 3 years of owning my business, I did not make a profit for the first 3 years.
Yeah, you don't.
Right? Do you know what my tax accountant told me? You really don't have a business if you can't make a profit.
Yep.
So you might want to think about dissolving your LLC, and your business becomes a hobby in which you claim it on your taxes as a hobby, and you pay taxes to the government through your own personal payment.
Yeah, that's
so
a
it's
DP.
one of those where, because the WNBA has never turned a profit, it's one of those that, how can you demand more money at the same time? Like, again, we're not saying they don't deserve the money, but it's, where does the money come from when you've never turned a profit and the business is losing $40 million a year?
Yes.
And I understand it's, we're talking about, what, and again, I don't know what the profit sharing is of the WNBA. I know NFL, is, I think 40-60, or they're pretty close to 50-50. And if not, they will be on the next collective bargaining agreement. It'll probably be 50-50 split between owners and players. Again, I don't know what the WNBA is, because at the same time, you've never turned a profit. So if the owners are out millions of dollars, they're paying for stadiums that are never full, that are, they're losing on concessions, they're losing on everything there is. All right. There's only so long that a business can stay open when you lose money.
It'll stay open here because it's going to continue
It'll
to
stay
subsidize.
open
But
because it's subsidized.
here's my issue with it, and before we just jump off, because it's going to really
Yep.
really
Yeah.
frustrate. They've been in existence less than 30 years.
Absolutely.
Okay, where was the NBA in 30 after the first 30 years?
I
No one
get
was
exactly
watching
what you're
it.
saying.
No one was watching it until the 80s, until they got to like their 40th, 50th year. It takes time to get traction. You just got one of the best players in the world, a female best player in the world. Shit, she can probably play on one of the NBA teams as a point guard. Who knows? You just got her into a league. She's turning that league around. Wherever she goes, they sell out stadiums. They go into larger arenas to take on the capacity of going to see her. She is moving the needle for you. She just started. Just be patient. I understand the CBA's up. They have to negotiate their contract. I get that. But I want to get paid like in the NBA players. No, sorry. NBA players have put in their time. NBA owners have put in their time and money in investing. And now they're cashing the fruits of their labor. Okay. The Celtics just sold for what was it, like $6 billion or something? Yeah, but the Celtics are one of the oldest basketball teams ever, and they won championships. So
And like I said, I feel that collective bargaining agreement. I hope that they take and again, I don't want to be like take what you can get. All right, that's not what I'm saying. All right. I want them to make more money, but they have to be realistic in what they are demanding. Right. And I think that is the issue, is that I don't know that they are going to be realistic in what they are demanding. And I think there could be a lockout, there could be a shutdown, and I think that would kill the WNBA.
yes.
So again, I think there needs to be some realistic expectations in the upcoming collective bargaining agreement. I think the owners and the WNBA have to understand the business is growing now with Caitlin Clark. They're going to have more advertisers. They're going to have more sponsors. They're going to have all that stuff, right? So the money will come. But at the same time, like we said, it took the NBA how many years, right? There needs to be an understanding that you're not going to get everything tomorrow. It may be another 5 years from now.
They literally have a bird magic situation right now where they played each other in college. The teams hated each other. They might not like each other. Now they go to the professional ranks and they're playing against each other and they don't like each other and it's a rivalry and people are very interested. You're barely there. You're in the 80s of the NBA. Just wait.
But like I said, there's more young players in the women's NCAA that are going to be coming out
up next year. Yes, and she's phenomenal. We'll see what she can do for the league.
So like I said, it's one of those. The league is growing, but again, I hope that their demands and what they expect are not so egregious that there's going to be a lockout, because that's going to set it back. Kind of like we were just discussing with the MLB, right? You're starting to gain traction again. You're putting good product on the field again. MLB is starting to become a thing again that everybody is trying to watch and be, it's a growing sport again. And then you have a lockout and it's going to kill it. So that's all I'll say, and we can move on.
Yeah, we'll definitely move on. I hope the ladies get paid, but it's a situation that, anyways. The Chicago Fire did win their last game, Israel. So thanks for that. They do play this Saturday against the New York Red Bulls. Yeah, I don't have anything. I mean, I don't want to talk about the trolls either. I don't want to give them any freaking airtime.
The
Me and
TikTok,
JC, me and JC got into it with some trolls on TikTok.
the TikTok.
Trying
Oh, let's get into it. Come
to get
on.
into it. TikTok.
I love getting into this kind of stuff because you know
All
what?
right. All right, here we go. Here we go. So, I
Ah,
cut up all the clips and I post them on all the socials and I'm pretty regiment of having clips go out at least once a day, if not, 2, 3 times a day. And it might have been like Thursday or Friday. There was a clip going on, and it was about Steven and JC kind of crapping on a Superman movie. And I was trying to go see it this weekend, but I couldn't go. Maybe I'll go tomorrow. I have no idea. But again, I was like, I have not seen the movie. I put that in the comments. I have not seen the movie. You're shitting on it, and they're like, "Oh, who gave these fat guys a podcast? These fat estrogen-filled guys a podcast? No one's watching you." And then I look at their account, I'm like, "Bro, you got 5 friends, and 3 of them are your family members. Like, go yourself."
or the fact of the matter is that you don't even have a profile picture of yourself.
No.
It's some anime character, you freaking nerds.
Yes.
Get out from under your mom's basement and go get a life.
Yeah.
You know what? You want to sit there and talk about, oh, podcasting equipment should cost more money. Guess what? I can afford the podcast equipment and to pay for your membership to the gym. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, there
Because
was
some of the
a lot
people
of
that were
personal attacks
commenting-
that weren't warranted, and they're internet trolls. They're going to do that. They're going to hide right behind their screen and behind their keyboard and behind their phone. But if you confront them and then you go toe to toe with them and they lose, they get butthurt. They're like, "Oh man, you're being so mean to us." No, no. She said, "Oh,
you brought it. I finished it.
exactly." And then me and JC are very the same. And the thing is that I was not having a good day when I saw those things, and I went into full JC Ivan mode and just started going off on everybody. And I was, she's like, "Oh, you guys, you get podcast equipment should be super expensive so that we don't have to listen to these guys." And my response, I was like, "Okay, you took out the sword. I'm gonna go defend myself." And I said,
Yeah.
"Makeup should be free because
The funny thing is the
fucking
person that made that comment has a TikTok, right? So I went and watched some of their TikTok videos, and good Lord, TikTok should charge $1,000 per upload because what they were uploading was egregious. I mean, if you want to talk trash about what I was doing, my God,
yeah."
you know,
We're in that society. Like, "Oh, I don't agree with them, so they're wrong." It's
yeah,
a
look,
movie. Either you like it or you don't. The guys
yeah.
didn't like it. I haven't seen it. I might have a different opinion as soon as I finish watching it. And then I'll disagree with the guys. And it doesn't matter at all. It's just our opinions about a stupid movie. So go stick your thumb
Look,
up your butthole and go sit on it.
look, the bottom line is I said that I thought Superman seemed like a little bit of a bitch. All
Mhm.
right. And let's face it, Superman is one of the most overpowered superheroes ever made in comics. All right. There's only a few more that are like at his level or above in the way of power. Okay. And the bottom line is the guy can only be beaten by a geologist. All right. So when I sit there and say that in the first 5 minutes of the movie, the guy was beaten so badly that a dog had to drag him to, the
Fortress of
Fortress
Solitude.
of Solitude to be rehealed by the Earth's yellow sun, it's like, kind of a bitch, it's and then again, I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to spoiler it. I know who the villain is. Yes, and I understand why Superman was beaten so badly. Okay? But it still doesn't take away from the fact that, you know, 2 or 3 times in the movie, it seems like he was getting his ass kicked when it's like, I thought this guy is the all-powerful superhero
He's
that
a
can
god.
only be, you know, Doomsday and Kryptonite are like the only things that can beat him, you know? So, and again, I personally, I'm not a big Superman fan. Okay. I'm not the most lore expert of Superman. We have stated on this podcast, Steven is a DC guy. Steven loves Superman and Batman and all that stuff.
Steven's a
I
Marvel
grew up.
guy.
He's a Marvel guy. Yeah,
He's a Marvel
guy. But Steven still will dip his toe in the DC universe. Where I specifically grew up only on Spider-Man. Okay. And yes, I know of Iron Man, I know of Hulk, I know of all the characters. I've read Captain America stuff when I was growing up as a kid, but I was religiously a Spider-Man comic fan. So it's one of those where Peter Parker, even though he has superpowers, was still human and would be injured and hurt and everything else.
Yeah,
But
he
because
just has
Spidey sense and
regeneration
everything-
powers, just like Wolverine, right?
right. He had healing factor. He, not necessarily to the extent of Wolverine, but he did heal somewhat faster than normal. But again, it's one of those, he also had, like, if you will, precog with his spider sense. But it's one of those where when you have a being, an alien from another planet, that is, again, one of the most powerful written comic book characters out there, next to like Century and Galactus and some of these, super powerful beings. It's one of those, when I came across the movie, and I will say, yes, he's a more sensitive Superman. I had no problem with him being the sensitive Superman. It was just the fact of, like, who he was facing. And it was like, should you really be getting beaten by that person or that person? Like, that was my only thing. And again, you could take it however you want. You want to write troll comments and say stuff about our podcast and I'm fat and overweight. I don't care. I don't know you. Your opinion does not matter to me. And let's get something straight. If we met on the street tomorrow, I would roast the shit out of you. All right. Because you've got an anime character as your profile picture. Why are you hiding? Here I am putting my opinion out there on a podcast, and you're sitting there trolling from behind a keyboard in your mom's basement. Grow up.
Mom,
Have an opinion. You want to talk trash? Let's go. I'll see you in the comments.
Oh man. Oh well. I think we're good here. I definitely want to watch or listen to the end of the game. So you want to talk wrestling?
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's Seth Rollins injury.
Seth Rollins did injuries. I think he tried to get an MRI. Just too much swelling, so we don't
too much swelling. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Rich Eisen podcast. Show.
It does not sound good, and
no,
basically from everything, it sounds like he'll be out for an extended period of time.
Yeah. And then we got John Cena will be facing John Cena will be facing Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. You got CM Punk facing Gunther at SummerSlam. He beat Braun Breaker to get his opportunity for a title. And
you'll have to explain the Gunther thing to me because I don't really see it.
He's a good villain. He just has the look. Essentially, he can wrestle, and he has the look. But as far as
as a talent, like, I kind of look at him and it's like,
meh. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I don't think they have any,
like, some of those guys.
Yeah, they don't have any good villains right now. Seth Rollins was the one that would get there and get under people's nerve, under skin. Yeah, definitely. You look at those, but there's not really any great villains. Like Roman Reigns just came back as well, but he's coming back as a babyface, as a good guy. You got that new family tree, my family tree, instead of the bloodline. It looks so weak. It looks so weak. I don't know. It's just transition period right now.
Yeah, it's one of those where, like, we've had this conversation where it's like I kind of just sit there and go, I really don't see the top tier talent like right now. Like it's like 4 guys and
It
that's
is.
really about it.
It is 4 guys
And
right now.
really
Yeah.
like I look at Cody and it's like, dude, are you really a top tier talent? Like I know they're pushing Cody and I know Cody's billed as a top tier talent, but it's like I still watch some of his wrestling and it's like Randy Orton to me is still one of like the best performers. Like even at his age, like he's still putting out great matches. And
Yes.
it's like I watch Cody and it's just like I don't I don't really see
He's been
the
wrestling the same exact way as for his entirety. He's got a couple new moves. His finisher is a different new move, and then like he's got the Cody Cutter, which is a version of the RKO, a version of the Diamond Cutter, a
yeah.
version of the Stone Cold, a Stunner. It's a version of all those 3, right? So you have that. He's good on the mic. He's gotten a lot better on the mic, and he changed his appearance. And it's all about appearance, and it's all about
Yeah.
being skillful on the mic. And that will get you a lot of airtime.
Yeah, like
And,
I said, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, he's not Stardust anymore, okay? But
hey, I
like,
love Stardust.
I still don't see him as like the Undertaker, the Shawn Michaels, the Steve Austin.
We don't have.
As
We don't,
yeah, it's like that. Those top tier guys to me are like missing right now, and with Cena on this run, it's showing like, dude, there's nobody to go up against him like
well,
right now.
Roman Reigns is a baby face. When he was a heel, I hated it. I'm like, dude, he's got the title for 4 years. I hate this. He did his job. And then,
Yeah.
as year 3 went through, I'm like, I started to appreciate what he was doing and what he did. John Cena is trying to do everything he can to build everything he can before he turns babyface and then retires. That's going to happen. I don't think he's going to retire as a heel. I'm pretty sure he'll have some kind of come to Jesus moment, and he's not going to cheat, and it'll cost him the title, and that'll be it. That'll be the end of it.
But like I
Would
said,
it
I don't see a heel in this business right now. Like unless
It's
you're
gonna
telling
be
me
Cody. I'm telling you right
LA
now.
Knight is,
It's gonna
you
be
know,
Cody who has to turn heel to make John Cena. It's gonna be a double turn. And make John Cena's gonna turn babyface to get that double turn. And now you have Cody versus LA Knight, which we've talked about for a while. LA Knight gets really hot and then they push him back down. He gets hot, they push him back down. It's like give the guy a shot. I don't know what it is that is holding him back. I don't know. But that's part of the issue. Now you've got Braun Breaker, but he's with Seth Rollins and the Aussie kid.
yeah, but with Seth being out, I think maybe they push
Yeah,
Breaker more.
they're gonna push Breaker way more. Yeah. But then you also have Paul Heyman that can run his mouth for them. That's exactly what he's there for. So they might end up picking up another player to be a part of their clique. Great. But again, there's no one at the top tier. It was Seth Rollins, it's John Cena, it's Randy Orton, right? These guys are old. They're gonna get injured, they're gonna get beat up, they're gonna have to limit their dates. So you have to start building more villains, right? And I've seen Gunther since he was in NXT, and I was like, oh my god, he's a huge guy, and then he lost the weight, and then he had a different gimmick where he's kind of like, you know, his gimmick was just dumb, really. But his thing is that he does chops, he slaps people, and leaves marks and makes it all bloody. Okay, but the personality for me is just it's a 2. Like
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this where it's like, you're missing you're missing the top tier, and then like I'm sitting there looking at like back in the day where it was like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero and the Chris Benoits and like even the middle tier back in the day, the Dudley Boys, Christian and Edge, the Hardy Boys, like that
your tag team
middle
division
tier
is
was
trash.
even.
Yeah, the tag team division is also trash. I see it only on SmackDown, and it's like they literally put all the tag teams in a room or in a hallway, and they're all arguing with each other and who's going to be the next title contender. And then someone gets picked, and they go out there, and someone else interferes. And it's the same thing happening for the past 6 months. I'm like, this is horrible storytelling. Horrible
Yeah.
storytelling. Especially for a
Like I
tag
said,
team division.
I don't know where WWE is going from here. It's like, and I mean, honestly, like the women's division is becoming more
It's
competitive.
so good. That pay-per-view, if you have a chance, Women's Evolution, every single match was a banger. Every single match. Not one match was dumb. The stories were there. Taught the athletic, excuse me, the athleticism was there. Naomi cashed in. It was great. It was great.
Who is the girl? I think she might be like NXT, but she is doing like a flip off the top rope into an RKO.
Yeah, she is in NXT. Yeah, but she kind of sits down. That's not a move that's sustainable for a very long time.
No. But
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there like, how is that not on the main roster yet?
Yep.
Like, if you are doing crazy aerial, like I said, I don't want to say like a moonsault, but it's like it's a crazy like forward flip into an RKO on an opponent, and it's like,
It's video
I
game
mean,
like.
yeah, who I don't know the girl's name, but I'm like, dude, that is a crazy finisher that it's like, and like you said, it's not going to be sustainable long term.
No.
You might be able to get away with it for 2-3 years, and then your body is going to be,
Yeah, you
whatever.
the impact on the spine is not. You ended up like Kevin Owens, who literally just had his neck surgery. So speedy recovery to Kevin, one of my favorite wrestlers. But yeah, that's the reason why, because he does that stunner, and he does a moonsault. He does all those aerial things, being a big boy. You know, he does. He got flip. What did he do? A moonsault? No, he got a power drive into a ladder after a moonsault. Into it was Kevin Owens used to take a beating, and kind of like Mankind, Mick Foley. That will
Yeah.
catch up with you. It will catch up with you, and
Oh yeah.
they say wrestling's fake. No, it's predetermined, but all the athleticism and all the other stuff, that stuff hurts, man. It hurts.
Yeah. I mean, I watched literally the building of the ring, and like
Oh yeah,
I always thought that the ring had like a little like maybe 1 inch foam padding. No. Like I said, it was one of those where I was like, okay, like that makes it even worse to me, is because like you thought there'd be a slight foam padding. There
nope,
is not at all.
no. It's those wood slabs, and then they put the tarp on it. That's it.
Oh, but it's like a square tubing as well that goes across
Oh
it's like a 1 inch or 2 inch square tubing that goes across as supports for
hmm
the wood of
yeah.
the ring. And it's one of those where it's like, dude, like that's got no give.
No,
Like,
no, it does not. The only thing that guys give is the wood when it bends down and it shoots you back up, and that's the noise that you hear when they get slammed onto the mat is the wood. That's
yeah.
what you hear. So yeah, shout out to all those professional wrestlers. It's a hard life, and thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah.
Oh man, all right, let's get out of here. We're at a good time. We're almost 120, so we're good. JC, thanks for joining us. You know, shout out to your fam, and hopefully we can come on the other
Thank
side of
you.
this.
Yeah, we're hoping, we were hoping she was going to come home today, and now it sounds like maybe not till Thursday. It's changing day by day. Unfortunately, for those that don't know, my mother had surgery, and there were complications, and it's going to be a long recovery. And the bottom line is that, you know, things are changing on a daily basis. Doctors are, now they're talking about you know, maybe another procedure that can help heal things faster. Um, we'll see. Things are kind of progressing day by day. And, it's a little bit stressful. We're trying to, while she's at the hospital, we're at the house. I've ordered all kinds of medical supplies and different things for when she comes home. But when we talk about like, what are you watching? It's like, I haven't watched anything. Like it's literally been like bed by 3 a.m., doing laundry till 3 a.m., bed by 3 a.m., back up at like, 9-10 in the morning, and like doing more laundry, doing more, like I said, overall, like vacuuming around the house and cleanliness is going to be very important when she comes home. We can't have any infections, anything like that. So, it's day by day, we are doing everything we can to prepare for her to come home. So, it's a little stressful, but we're getting there.
That's awesome. Yeah. She'll be home soon, dude.
Yep.
All right. For JC, I am Big Z, and that is all for today. Thank you for listening. Simple as that. Thank you to our listeners for sticking with us and supporting us through 257 episodes. Thank you to our sponsor, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans. Definitely go to 606 Media and check out the gear that we got out there. We have 3 different lines out there. Definitely check out our gear. It supports us, keeps the conversation going, pays the bills, because a big bill went out today and it really hurt. So please support us there. Check us out on social media. You can find JC at JC Dynasty Fantasy Football on the Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Hit us up on a TCSF pod on Twitter. My socials are Big Z _ 606 Media on everything. And again, if you have a food recommendation, show recommendation, want to argue about something, go ahead and hit us up at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right. For JC, I am Big Z. We'll see you next time for episode 258. And until then, be good to each other for the love of sports. Yes.